volcano. The static electricity in the smaller particles of the eruptive clouds created an amazing display of lightning and thunder that could be seen like a fiery curtain drifting out over the sea for many miles to the west. This massive collapse also generated a series of explosive events that showered the entire island with fragments of dome rock and pumice clasts, ranging in size from a few millimeters to 5 or 6 centimeters. As you can see by these before and after pictures, about 2/3 of the 200 million cubic meters of dome material disappeared down the Tar River Valley, subsequently creating a small tsunami along the eastern coastline. The resulting ashfall was up to 15 centimeters or 6 inches deep in the hardest hit areas to the northwest of the volcano, breaking down tree limbs in the Salem, Old Town and Ulveston areas and making the whole island look like a black and white photo. With the dome gone, the volcano entered another period of relative quiet, and once again, the people of Montserrat were hoping that maybe the eruption was nearing its end, but that was not to be. In July of 2005, the island was preparing for a big scientific conference titled 10 Years On, to mark the 10th anniversary of the eruption. As scientists from around the world were gathering, they were welcomed by a series of explosions and ash venting that led to a renewal of another period of dome growth and a continuation of the eruption. In the spring of 2006, the new dome became visible from the MVO and the inhabited areas around Salem. On March 6, a very vigorous gas vent was seen on the west side of the lava dome above Gages Valley. By May, the dome volume was estimated at 80 million cubic meters, with an extrusion rate of 8 cubic meters a second. A vent on the north face of the dome would at times become so vigorous that the sound could be heard as far north as Woodlands and St. Peters. On a clear night, a drive around to Blake's on the east side of the island revealed a glowing mountain of fire. These breathtaking nighttime images were taken from Jackboy Hill overlooking the old W.H. Bramble Airport. You can see continuous incandescence as the hot magma coming out of the top of the dome cascades down the sides of the ever-growing mountain. In the daytime, the dome looks grey and innocuous, but at night, it shows its true colors. Over the next few months, there were periods of dome growth, and at times where the mountain was very quiet. Then in late 2009, there was a period of growth where the rates of extrusion reached up to 30 cubic meters per second, or about the size of 2 shipping containers every second. This activity caused small collapses around the volcano, creating pyroclastic flows that could come down the sides of the dome in any direction. Here we see some of the most spectacular images ever captured of this deadly yet beautiful phenomenon. This flow is coming down from the Gages area, heading west towards the buried capital city of Plymouth. Many new cutting-edge scientific discoveries have been made during the eruption of the Soufriere Hills. Here we see an event that has never been seen before or captured on film. What appears to be an ash vent in the daytime reveals its base to actually be a tower of solid flame. As night falls, it looks like a giant blowtorch reaching some 100 meters into the air. In this last shot, we see a small collapse cascading down the sides of the dome. You can see the incandescent rocks rolling along the leading edge of a small pyroclastic flow. These flows can reach temperatures up to 500 degrees centigrade. Another scientific breakthrough was the use of a thermal camera. Here we see the images of the explosions of January 8th and February 5th of 2010. These preceded the largest and the last event to take place in Montserrat, February 10 of 2010. You can see the heat in the plume and in the flows coming down the valley. Let's listen to the voice of MVO Director Paul Cole as he reports the events of that day on ZGB Radio.
We saw pyroclastic flows travelled across the sea at Bramble Airport out to sea some distance, such that people that look out can see the pyroclastic surges travelling across the sea. We've had pyroclastic flows travel down Tyres Gut direction into Belem Valley and have travelled as far as Cork Hill. As you can see from anywhere on Montserrat, there's a large eruption column. This is in excess of 20,000 feet, and my guess is it's probably in excess of 30,000 feet. Ash is, fortunately for Montserrat, being blown towards the northeast, and possibly in an Antigua direction, although I don't know if it's actually ash falling in on Antigua, but it's blowing largely away from inhabited areas. We could still get some ash fall or lapilli fall because there may well have been explosions. We certainly have 5 separate peaks during that activity. So people should be just a little bit aware that we could still, although the wind is blowing in the correct direction for us, most areas shouldn't get very much ash fall, but it's possible we could get some. But I should say that activity after the 3/4 of an hour, activity is decreasing at the moment for the time being, and so I think for the moment the activity has peaked. It is likely that this is a partial dome collapse. I don't know how large at the moment, but we know that the pyroclastic flows have travelled at least 7 kilometres to reach the airport, the old airport that is, at Bramble on the northeastern coast, and have travelled further than that because they have gone out to sea, across the sea. So these are very large pyroclastic flows. We've just had rumbles of lightning, which is associated with the charge in the column. It's perfectly normal for this kind of activity.
The MVO director, Paul Cole, and volcanologist Adam Stinton decided to take a chopper trip to houses which had taken a direct hit from the very powerful pyroclastic flows of February 2010. As they flew over Lookout Ridge and looked into the area where the village once stood, it was evident that not much remained, as the blast had sheared most of the houses, churches, shops, and schools right off at ground level. They decided to land and take a closer look at the devastation that had taken place in this previously untouched village of houses. As they walked along, they saw little evidence of what had once been a living, thriving community. One of the strangest sights was a giant piece of dome rock that had tumbled the 3 kilometers from the volcano to end up balanced on the roof of what had been the second floor of the village police station. The rainy seasons continue to generate massive mud flows that constantly change the appearance of the Belém Valley, and during really heavy downpours, the watercourse could become a raging torrent of mud, stones, and other debris, making a visit to the south of the island impossible. In Plymouth, the successive mud flows were slowly burying the former capital city in 30 to 40 feet of lahar material. Here we see that only the steeple of the beautiful old St. Patrick's Catholic Church still protrudes out of the rubble. As we look to the west, we see that the entire coastline has been extended by over 100 meters or more, adding a few square miles of new land to the island of Montserrat. Every 6 months, a team of scientists from around the world gathers together with the local staff to share their collective views and to discuss what hazards and risks the volcano might pose to the people of Montserrat. Because volcanoes continue to be unpredictable and their eruptions cannot be controlled, they'll always cause severe stress on the people living nearby. However, progress in understanding volcanoes can make societies better prepared to face the dangers involved and to mitigate the effects of volcanism.